So, we have the Western Conference Series previews to get to now. Starting off here with the Vegas Golden Knights versus the Winnipeg Jets. Now, this could be an interesting series. Both of these teams obviously played most recently back in 2018. Obviously, both of these teams were in the Western Conference Finals, and the Golden Knights ended up winning that in not 7 games, 5 games. And the same result could happen this year. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I don't have a lot of faith in Winnipeg in this series. Vegas 51, 22, and 9 for 111 points. They have scored 272 goals and have led in 229. They are 25, 15, and 1 at home, and they are 26, 7, and 8 on the road. Now, I like Vegas' odds in this series, not only because, well, they're first in the West, but as well as that, too, they're playing the worst team that made the playoffs in the West, and they have Mark Stone coming back. So obviously, last year was an interesting season. They acquired Jack Eichel. They really weren't healthy, and it's not like they were healthy or that they were healthy this year, but they were healthy enough to make the playoffs. And then as well as that too, you had last year everybody was rooting against them, but I feel like this year, they definitely look a lot better, and they definitely did a very good job at bouncing back. As for Winnipeg, the Jets have a 46-33-3 record for 95 points. They have scored 247 goals and have let in 225. They are 26-13-2 at home, and they are 20-20-1 on the road. So keep in mind that road record, and I've said this for multiple teams. Vegas is pretty solid at home, and with the Jets being an team on the road, we'll see if the Jets are going to be able to pull this one off and make it into the second round, because Vegas is a solid team, but Winnipeg, they were they were pushing for first in the West for a while there. It wasn't until January where they had an absolute collapse, and I think they honestly were below 500 or very close to 500 at points there from probably January to the end of the season. Like, they were first in the West, and then they became the worst team to make it into the playoffs. So that definitely plays a role there in, when you think about it, what if this collapse continues and they end up being first round exits? That's something you definitely got to keep in mind. Now, you look at their leading goal scorers for each team. You start off with Jack Eichel for Vegas. Eichel this season, 67 games played, 27 goals, 39 assists for 66 points. Obviously, Jack Eichel, really solid player. Definitely going to get his first stint of playoff hockey this coming playoffs, and I'm very excited to see what he's going to be able to do. It's going to be really interesting, but obviously for Eichel, we shall see. As it goes for the Jets, you have Kyle Connor with 82 games played, 31 goals, 49 assists for 80 points. Kyle Connor, obviously a really solid player. 31 goals is considered kind of a down year for him, but still 31 goals is pretty solid. It's interesting though, because we'll see how Connor will perform in the playoffs. Consistently, he's been a solid goal scorer when it comes to playing in the playoffs, so we'll see if that carries on over to this coming season. As well as that too, for your secondary scorer for Vegas, you got Chandler Stevenson with 81 games played, 16 goals, 49 assists for 65 points. Stevenson there obviously playing some really solid hockey. A really solid, underrated center, and does not get enough recognition throughout the league. Now, here's a pleasant surprise. Josh Morrissey has been really solid this year for the Winnipeg Jets on that blue line. 78 games played, 16 goals, 60 assists for 76 points. Morrissey, really solid defender this year. Could be getting some Norris consideration. He likely won't win it, but still, an almost 80-point season out of a defender that was in previous years is still really solid. You look at each team's third leading goal scorer. You got Jonathan Marchessault for Vegas. Marchessault, 76 games played, 28 goals, 29 assists for 57 points. Marchessault, of course, I have his jersey. Really solid forward. He's still got it for Vegas. You can tell there's an obvious point drop there between Stevenson and Marchessault. But yeah, Vegas kind of reminds me of like the West Coast Hurricanes. They're not a team that has one player who's soaring above everybody else and scoring all the goals. No, it's kind of more of a team effort here. with the Vegas Golden Knights. So I really like that for them, and they definitely, in my opinion, have better odds than Carolina to make it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. On the other end, you got Mark Scheifele with 81 games played, 42 goals, 26 assists for 68 points. He's been a really solid forward this season. Picked it up this year goal wise. And 42 goals is really solid for him. And I definitely expect him to, be pretty pissed off with how last season went and carry this on into the playoffs and, play really solid. As it goes for the goaltending, you have Logan Thompson for Vegas, who's obviously a rookie. Will get Calder consideration. 37 games played, 21-13-3 record with a 2.65 goals against average and a .915 save percentage. Now, you may have Thompson, yes, and you have Adin Hill, and you have Laurent Brossoit, but you also have Jonathan Quick there too. And Quick has plenty of experience, winning 2 Stanley Cups with the Los Angeles Kings. So we'll see there, and it'll be really interesting if Thompson doesn't play too well against Winnipeg. They got plenty of options there. They can throw in Quick, they can throw in Brossoit, they can throw in Adin Hill. You got 3 other goalies there who are viable options. So we will see what happens there, but I think Thompson will do all right in the playoffs. You got Connor Hellebuyck on the other end for the Winnipeg Jets. Hellebuyck, 64 games played, 37, 25, and 2, with a 2.49 goals against average and a .920 save percentage. Hellebuyck, as I mentioned in multiple videos, really solid goalie, and at points has 100% carried the Winnipeg Jets into the playoffs, and really, you can kind of thank him for the reason why the Jets are still in it here. Because if they kept falling off like they were and they didn't have Hellebuyck, we could be seeing Calgary in the playoffs and not not Winnipeg. So that's something we got to keep in mind, or Nashville too. I guess Nashville could have made it, but anyways. As for the matchups this year, it's been a clean sweep. Vegas has won all 3 matchups this year. On October 20th, Vegas won 5-2. On October 30th, Vegas won 2-1, and then on December 13th, Vegas won 6-5. So the games are pretty close, I will admit that. However, I do think Vegas still has the edge over the Winnipeg Jets in this series, and that's why I'm going to go Knights win this series in 5 games. I just can't see Winnipeg keeping up with Vegas. To be honest with you, I feel like Winnipeg's played pretty inconsistently since January, and honestly, I just don't really see them being able to, keep up with a fast team like Vegas, and especially with Vegas bringing back Mark Stone. And I know there's all those controversial LTIR rulings and all that. I know that's a big thing, but really, I still think the Knights will win this series in 5 games. Anyways, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. Thank you all for watching. This is our first one for the Western Conference. So anyways, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next preview. Adios.